This is Hino's the Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. Errol the True Spence did his thing, man. What I'm noticing is there's a tendency for there to not only be Errol the True Spence haters and trolls, but what you're also seeing is that these so-called Errol the True Spence fans are coming out the woodworks. I said this a long time ago. I said that Errol the True Spence had a bunch of so-called Errol the True Spence fans. I smelled that thing a mile away. Because you guys have to understand, man. He fought another guy who had one of the better resumes at the welterweight division, right? And Sean Constipated Porter. To me, he's still constipated because what we saw in that fight was tactical aggression versus ineffective aggression. Let me say it again. Tactical aggression versus ineffective aggression. The Errol the True Spence fans should be happy. They should be satisfied with this victory. Because when you start fighting guys at the upper echelon of whatever division or the upper echelon of the competition, everything is not going to be as easy as it needs to be. Especially if it's a rough and a rugged fighter. I've sat here and I've watched Mayweather fans. And I'm one of the Mayweather fans that sat here and gave Floyd Mayweather the benefit of the doubt, right? We knew Floyd Mayweather outboxed Marcos Maidana. When people were running with this narrative that Marcos Maidana won the fight, it was a robbery. You know what I'm saying? Floyd Mayweather should run the thing back. You know what I'm saying? He should run the fight back. All of the Mayweather fans unanimously, unequivocally, and unquestionably debunked these Marcos Maidana fanboys. Put them right in their place. Same thing with Deontay Wilder when he fought Tyson Fury. Unequivocally and unquestionably. And I'm one of the biggest Deontay Wilder fans ever. We were all right there in support of Deontay Wilder. And if it wasn't for those two knockdowns that Deontay Wilder had, he would have lost the fight. We got to keep it a buck here. But we defended Deontay Wilder. Andre Ward. We defended Andre Ward in the fight against Sergey Kovalev, the first fight. That was a controversial fight. But we knew that Andre Ward won those next 7 rounds. And we argued that down to the T. Now Errol the True Spence has a fight that he has toe-to-toe with Sean Constipated Porter, where he showed you guys the body work that he did. His body work was extremely superb. I'm going to say it again. His body work was extremely superb. I don't know what fights you guys were watching. That's why I said I don't know the lamest boxing fan. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's in their mind. I don't know what they look at. I don't know if they have what we call the true boxing eye test. Because if you have that, when you sit there and you look at the fight, you could see how Errol the True Spence was systematically chopping Sean Constipated Porter down. He's still constipated to me because what I saw was a lot of movement with his feet going in and out, in and out, in and out. Sean Porter missed Errol the True Spence with a lot of shots. Where he got people razzled and dazzled was because of the movement. This was the same thing with Marcos Maidana, folks. I'm going to say that again. This was the same thing with Marcos Maidana. It was the movement that was getting folks thinking that Marcos Maidana was doing something. But when you slow it down, you guys are going to be able to see. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. That's the Jay-Z term. Let me say it again. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. The proof is in the pudding. Errol the True Spence landed close to 50% of his power punches to Sean Constipated Porter's 26%. That's an 18% differential. Errol the True Spence had 221 punches to Sean Constipated Porter's 172 that landed. Do you guys not understand? That's a 49 punch differential. So again, tactical aggression versus ineffective aggression. Now, did Sean Porter have moments where he landed shots on Errol the True Spence? Yes. But that's because Errol the True Spence went toe-to-toe and Errol the True Spence was trading with Sean Constipated Porter. What you guys have to understand in fighting is when fighters go toe-to-toe and they fight like that, there's going to be a trade. But Errol the True Spence fans need to be confident, man. They need to have confidence. They need to double down with confidence and fortitude. Let me say it again. They need to double down with confidence and fortitude like he knows the sport. It seems like I'm the only real, true Errol the True Spence fan out here, man. Because I have all the confidence in the world of what I saw. Not taking away from other true Errol the True Spence fans, because I know I seen them in the live stream. Shout outs to DK Andrews. Shout outs to You know what I'm saying? Coach Carter, and to all of the other Earl the True Spence fans. You know what I'm saying? Shout outs to Uncle Donald Brown. You know what I'm saying? Shout outs to Daniel Alexander. And the list goes on and on and on. Guy Yuta. The list goes on and on and on and on. Freddie Gee. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. A lot of people showed up and showed out. And they paid respects to Earl the True Spence. Because they understood what they saw in front of them. You guys think the knockdown came out of nowhere? It came out of his ass? You think he just pooped it out of his ass? Let me say it again. You think he just pooped it out of his ass? No. It was body snatching work. You guys have heard me say this throughout the anthology series. Tactical aggression, technical punching placement, and body snatching work. The levying onslaught of the punishment style. Do you guys not understand what I mean when I say that? Tactical aggression. Earl the True Spence fought aggressive. And all this stuff about Sean Constipated Porter pushed him back with Danny Cherry Picking Garcia saying this nonsense. What fight was he watching? He's just a hater and a troll. I told you, fighters and ex-fighters, trainers and ex-trainers can be ultra fanboys with the ultra fanboy rhetoric. Because clearly Danny Garcia's hating. And like Earl the True Spence said, he's the big fish. The tables have turned. The tides have turned. And he's just trying to find ways to think, oh, I see something. Another Garcia that says, oh, I see something in Spence. That's why I'm going to fight him. I hope you keep that same energy and think that you saw something. People don't understand what Earl the True Spence did here. He beat another opponent at his own game. Now, I've heard some people sit here and debunk that. I'm like, Earl the True Spence needs to fight his own fight. Well, this is what you guys need to understand. When Floyd Mayweather was beating people at their own game, were people sitting here and saying, oh, Floyd Mayweather needs to fight his own fight? No, they were sitting here saying that it was masterful. So keep that same energy, dog. Let me say it again. When Floyd Mayweather was beating people at their own game, nobody was telling him and critiquing him and saying, oh no, Floyd Mayweather should fight his own fight. Keep that same energy, dog. Earl the True Spence is beating these guys at their own game. Mikey Garcia was quote unquote the god of skills of boxing. You know what I'm saying? The Mexican Mayweather. And what did Earl the True Spence did? He outboxed and out-countered his ass. Embarrassed him, man. Washed him, double washed him, and triple washed him. We already knew there was going to be Earl the True Spence haters and trolls. We already knew there was going to be ultra fanboys with the ultra fanboy rhetoric. We knew there was going to be classic dolts and troglodytes. That's what they do at their truest and their most properest levels, because they have insecure, miserable as fuck lives. So they have to protrude that hate, protrude that trollism on other people. You see what I'm saying? That's what's going on. Now we got so-called Earl the True Spence fans. That means you wasn't an Earl the True Spence fan from the jump. I'm going to say that again. So-called Earl the True Spence fans. You wasn't an Earl the True Spence fan from the jump, because where's your defense? Everybody doesn't have no defense mechanism when it comes to this stuff. And I'm talking about the so-called Earl the True Spence fan criticizing the man, saying, oh, you know, he should have got back with Blu-ray, or Earl the True Spence looked sloppy. Earl the True Spence looked like he didn't do what he was supposed to. Are you kidding me? What fight were you watching? That's what I'm saying. Like, when people are sitting here and looking at boxing, what are they looking at? What is their requirements? Every fight is not just going to be a blowout, man. So you got to give Sean Constipated Porter his credit, because he said exactly what he's been saying the whole time. That's why I told Sean Constipated Porter to keep that same energy, dog. And that same energy was to give Earl the True Spence the hardest fight that he ever had. Sean Constipated Porter was telling motherfuckers this from the jump. And Earl the True Spence almost had the knockout, man. Now, could have done more to press the action to get the knockout? Yes, I could admit that. But to me, I'm more than satisfied, because he went in there and out-brawled the brawler. Let me say it again. He went in there and out-brawled the brawler. I normally don't come back and run this thing back, but I'm in run it back mode, dog. You know what I'm saying? We gonna run this thing back. Because we sick and tired of these classic dolts and these troglodytes. These ultra fanboys with the ultra fanboy rhetoric. Like whatever the fucking fart his name is. This motherfucker was an Earl the True Spence hater from the jump. They all coming out like cockroaches, man. Like cucarachas, man. With their yo no puedo caminar self, man. They coming out. They coming out of the woodworks. Because they've been hating on Earl the True Spence. Saying, oh, you know, after this performance, he better not fight Terrence Bud Crawford. But Terrence Bud Crawford had a 12-round decision over fucking Jose Benavidez. You might as well say that. Yeah, people say, oh, well, he knocked him out. Yeah, go look at the fight. Go look at the 12-round fight. You might as well say that was a decision fight, minus the knockout. That shit came way, way late. I don't even think Terrence Bud Crawford believed that he was going to get the knockout. Come on, man. Jose Benavidez landed so many body shots on Terrence Bud Crawford. That was the most touched up he was in any fight. He was exposed in that fight. But nobody talks about that. They want to sit here and talk about Errol the Truth Spence versus Sean Constipated Porter, right? Because he was in a toe-to-toe fight. But here's the difference between that fight between Jose Benavidez and this fight with Porter. Porter was never up. Porter was losing. That's why I'm laughing when people say, if you got Porter up by 6 rounds, you don't know shit about boxing. No, you don't know shit about boxing. When was he ever up on punches landing? See, that's the problem with people. They get caught up in ineffective aggression. They get caught up in movement that they're not seeing who's placing their punches technically. Let me say it again. They're getting caught up in movement and they're not seeing who's placing their punches technically. And motherfuckers got the nerve to say I'm getting emotional and all of this. No, that ain't happening over here. I'm doubling down with confidence and fortitude because I made a pick. And what I saw with Errol the Truth Spence was a masterful performance. Cats who didn't see that, that's on them. This nonsense about Errol the Truth Spence, he was exposed. That's rhetoric. That's folks that's just trying to run a narrative that doesn't even have legs. Let me say it again. That's folks that's trying to run a narrative that doesn't have legs. But I'm not going to talk about them. I expected what I expected from them. Because remember, they're classic dotes and they're troglodytes. You know what a troglodyte is? It's a dumb fucking caveman. Let me say it again. Do you know what a troglodyte is? It's a dumb fucking caveman. I expected these dumb cavemen and cavewomen to react the way that they did. Because they're primitive in their thoughts. Let me say it again. They are primitive in their thoughts. They don't have three-dimensional thinking ability. So we can't expect them to think any better than what they think. If you sit here and believe that Sean Constipated Porter won the first 6 rounds, you don't know shit about boxing. In Roger Mayweather's turn, you do not know shit about boxing. But I'm really addressing these so-called Errol the Truth Spence fans. Just like you showed Deontay Wilder full support, just like you showed Floyd Mayweather full support, where's the support for Errol the Truth Spence, man? This is the problem that I have. I don't see the support for him. So I don't want to hear these motherfuckers talking about Errol the Truth Spence ever again in any form of any variation and in any support. The man won the fight. This is prize fighting, folks. Every opponent, you're not going to just blow out the damn water. So I got to say hats off to Sean Constipated Porter for making it a hard fight. But there's no moral victories in fucking losing. You classic dotes and you troglodytes. You brain full of mush and you brainwashed dodo heads. Let me say that again. Blah, blah, blah. Because it needs to marinate in the corpus callosum and in the cerebellum. Hear me and hear me. Wow. There is no moral victories in losing. I don't care how close of a fight that you made it. Sean Constipated Porter has to go back to the drawing board, not Errol the Truth Spence. Errol the Truth Spence is the unified IBF and WBC champion. Do you guys realize that? So at the end of the day, he didn't get the short end of the stick. At the end of the day, he's the unified champion at 147 pounds. So this narrative of he needs to stay away from Terrence Bud Crawford. No, Terrence Bud Crawford needs to stay away from Errol the Truth Spence. He's too light on his ass. He will get straight up stopped. I'm going to say it again. He's too light on his ass. He will straight up get stopped. I've watched enough from Terrence Bud Crawford at 147 pounds to know that he is not ready. And he's not fighting quality opponent. His next opponent is Green Mean Machine. Are you guys listening to me, man? His next opponent is Green Mean Machine. What are you classic dotes and you troglodytes not getting? What are you Rudy Poo and you Plum Brings are not getting? He's not upping his competition. If anything, he's fighting lower level competition. Errol the Truth Spence is bringing himself up more and more in terms of competition. He's trying to go after Manny Pacquiao next. That's a higher level than Sean Constipated Porter. Because Manny Pacquiao, from what I've seen in the last fight against Keith Ducktime, aka Runtime Thurman, who's another classic dote and troglodyte, sitting here saying I had a better fight with Sean Porter. Are you freaking kidding me? Your fight was a lot closer. You got hit a whole lot more, and you were embarrassed a whole lot more. Errol the Truth Spence controlled that fight with Sean Constipated Porter. Don't even get me started on these fighters. They're just haters and they're trolls. I told you, boxers and ex-boxers, trainers and ex-trainers, all these media heads, they could be classic dotes and troglodytes. They could be haters and trolls. They could be ultra fanboys with the ultra fanboy rhetoric. This is what you're seeing, folks. But we debunk that nonsense over here, that Rudy Poo and that plum brain stuff. Because I keeps the foot on the what? On the next. I keeps the foot on the what? On the next. And like the Tibetan mastiff that I am, I apply what? Unlimited pressure. Because pressure does what? It busts fucking pipes, folks. We don't got time for that nonsense. I told you. The same way that they come in with these stupid ass videos saying Errol the True Spence got exposed. It's the same way that I'm coming with my videos to apply what? Unlimited pressure. And it's the same way that I'm coming to what? Keeps the foot on the what? On the next. I'm coming to keeps the foot on the what? On the next. And I'm bringing you that what? That heat and that fire. We don't got time for that nonsense, man. I will make sure I ramp up the efforts and the energy to debunk the foolery, debunk the nonsense. These bedbug haters and trolls coming on my shit to freaking masturbate. And I told you, whoa. We don't roll like that over here, man. Go do that, yeah. And that, yeah, over there on some other damn channel. These people wanted to see Errol the True Spence go through an arduous situation. That means they don't like boxing. I thought these were pugilist folks, right? I thought these were so-called hardcore fans. This is a fight of the year candidate. People should be celebrating at the fact that fans got what they wanted. A fight that went toe to toe. It went the distance. And it was a good fight. So Sean Porter gets credit for making it a good fight. But there's no moral victories in defeat. Let me say it again. There is no moral victories in defeat. And the number 3 of confirmation, because this needs to marinate in the corpus callosum and in the cerebellum. Hear me and hear me. Well, there's no moral defeats in victory, folks. I mean, there's no moral victories in defeat. Errol the True Spence bulldozed Sean Constipated Porter by his standards of out-brawling the brawler. Let me say it again. Errol the True Spence still bulldozed Sean Constipated Porter because he out-brawled the brawler. He beat him at his own game. That's even worse than bulldozing him, man. Let me say it again. He beat him at his own game. That's even worse than bulldozing him. When you beat somebody at their own game and they are the best iteration, this was a throwback version of Sean Constipated Porter. And he still lost. Y'all need to let that one sink in y'all heads. What I just said was so deep and profound. I need to rewind this because this has to marinate in the corpus callosum and in the cerebellum. Hear me and hear me well. Errol the True Spence beat Sean Constipated Porter at his own game. And Sean Constipated Porter was a throwback version of himself when it came to smothering, bull rushes, dirty and nasty. The cut that Errol the True Spence got, that came from a headbutt. It ain't come from no punches. Because Sean Constipated Porter don't got punches like that. And people sitting here talking about Errol the True Spence through low blows. You don't know shit about boxing. Those were lower abdomen body shots. Roy Jones Jr. talks about this stuff. Sean Constipated Porter is nothing but fucking 5'2", man. And he had his short trunks up. So, of course, it's going to look like it's a low blow because it went underneath the shorts. But that didn't mean Errol the True Spence hit him on the cup. You guys need to go back and do film study on this fight. There was no low blows. Errol the True Spence technically placed those body punches. It was Sean Constipated Porter that was throwing low blows at Errol the True Spence. That's how that fight went, man. That's what I said. When people were sitting here running this narrative, I was debunking them with that crap. You guys don't know shit about boxing if you're sitting here running with this narrative. I expect this from ultra fanboys with the ultra fanboy rhetoric. I expect this from the classic goats and the troglodytes. I expect this from these Rudy Poo and these plum brains, the brain full of mush and the brainwashed dodo heads, because they prescribe to certain channels that are running this bullshit narrative thinking that Errol Spence got exposed because they think about Errol Spence. He's living rent and space free all up in their heads and soaking up the AC. I'm going to say it again. He's living rent and space free all up in their heads and soaking all up the AC. But listen, folks, there's these so-called Errol the True Spence fans. These are the worst ones because they're giving the appearance that they're his fans, but not giving you the fullness thereof of the actual fan experience. I'm going to say that again. They're giving the appearance thereof that they are his fan, but are not giving you the fullness thereof of actually being a fan of Errol the True Spence. And I say this to those so-called Errol the True Spence fans. We don't need you over here, man. Because at the end of the day, it's going to continue to be man down strap season. I'm going to say it again. We do not need you over here. Because at the end of the day, it's going to continue to be man down and strap season. You guys have revealed yourself. I told you guys there was a bunch of Errol the Truth Spence so-called fans that was going to reveal themselves in that day. I made a video about this a couple of months back. Matter of fact, a couple of weeks back. And I said this was going to happen. And they were waiting for this moment to reveal themselves. And they already did reveal themselves. So at the end of the day, Errol the Truth Spence won. He's the unified champion. And the new IBF and WBC welterweight champion. So what the hell are you guys talking about? Go back, watch the fight, slow that motherfucker down, because I'm one take. I'm like Jay-Z. I can see things one time and I can see what I need to see. You need to go back, slow the fight down, and go look at how Errol the Truth Spence showed tactical aggression to Sean Constipated Porter's ineffective aggression. And then come back and holler at me. At the end of the day, Errol the Truth Spence won. It's man down strap season, and he could brag the way he did on Twitter. No nutritionist, no strength and conditioning coach. What he was trying to say is, look at what I did to Sean Constipated Porter minus these things. I out-brawled the brawler. That's why I said, unless you're a three-dimensional thinker, man, or you're a deep thinker out here in these boxing streets, you couldn't get what Errol the Truth Spence said. People are too busy trying to criticize it and critique it, not understanding the deep meaning behind what he said. Let me say it again. People are sitting here criticizing and critiquing it, but not understanding the deep meaning behind it thereof of what this man said. This man said some stuff that was deep and profound. I got to rant a little bit, because at the end of the day, somebody got to come into this man's defense. And I know people need Hino's support to bring you that heat and that fire to keep the foot on the what? On the next. To keep the foot on the what? On the next. And apply what? Unlimited pressure. Because I'm a Tibetan Mastiff, dog. Go research that breed of animal and you'll understand what that breed of dog is all about. Because pressure does what? It busts his fucking pipes, man. Folks could keep doing this. They could keep running their mouths. This is expected from the ultra fanboys, but the ultra fanboy rhetoric. But I'm heavily disappointed. I'm not surprised. Let me say it again. But I'm heavily disappointed in these so-called Errol the Truth Spence fans. And what I say to them is, man, get off the man down strap season train, dog. Because we don't need you. You fake and you phony motherfuckers. This is Hino's Support. Checking out.